Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant news and plenty of juicy stuff to dive into today. Major leaks with regard to the partnership league for next season, especially in the APAC region, and the bad news that it seems to contain it for that region on the whole, but also some reactions to the Chamber Nerf officially added to the game, not just in the public beta environment anymore. TenZ reckoning though that not just should they nerf Chamber in these ways, but also just remove him from the game entirely. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Derek on 100T getting ready for their kind of big match, their clout match, as Derek describes, up against Sentinels, which I believe is happening tomorrow, which of course is exciting stuff as well. First of all, I wanted to mention this though, because franchising partnership has been a key topic of discussion. We believe, as it presently stands, there will be 10 teams from each league or from each region going into each league. So 10 in the Americas, 10 in Europe, Middle East and Africa, and then 10 in Asia Pacific. Now, of course, Asia Pacific also includes Korea, Japan, all these other countries that apparently are going to get way more spots than APAC as an actual region as it is presently defined. So we'll see that's here right now, because this is, as is mentioned, APAC is not going to be happy with the amount of spots that seemingly they are getting given. This is as Bodok says, so out of the 10 teams that we believe we're going to get in each kind of region, there's only going to be 3 APAC teams. So APAC includes so many different countries. We'll see some of the examples here in a second, but Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines, Vietnam, Singapore, and then you've also got Australia, right? Australia, New Zealand is also included in that. So apparently that entire region of teams is only going to get 3 spots. 3 spots are going to go to Japan, 2 to Korea, 1 to South Asia, and then 1 to Oceania, which I guess, okay, so I guess Oceania is Australia, New Zealand, but I guess APAC still, there's so many countries and so many massive teams in that region that are not going to get a spot in franchising. So this has really caught people by surprise, and some have said that actually Korea is going to have 3 spots and Japan might just have 2, and that kind of riot have not made it clear what the numbers are going to be within the kind of 10 teams in that region, just will make it not so clear for everyone to know what's actually going to happen here. But actually, Ominous from Bleed says the following, right? He says, look, wait until you hear the names of the teams that get the spot. So that's the thing, as is mentioned here, okay, you've got PaperX, you've got Secret, Boom, of course, from Indonesia, Xerxes, Cerberus from Vietnam, and you might think, okay, well, if they just take 3 out of these 5 teams, like maybe PaperX, Secret, and Xerxes or something, it is what it is, but apparently, that's not exactly what they're going to do. Some of the teams that are going to get a spot here are not even going to be the big name organizations that we presently have running the scene over in that region, and supposedly one of them, other than TS, which I guess is speculation that they will be in, none of these will qualify. So they reckon that PaperX, they're not going to be there, Xerxes, they're not going to be there, they deserve a spot, but apparently one of the orgs that made it for APAC has 0 connections to Valorant and has never even been involved in Valorant. As Bodok goes on to say, I just heard some of the favorites that have made it to APAC partnerships have been eliminated, I guess these guys like Xerxes and PaperX possibly, that aren't even going to be there next season in the partnership league, which seems kind of crazy to me. But as he goes on to say, just wait until you hear the 3 teams that are most likely to take the APAC spots, and he goes on to say one of them has no activity in Valorant at all, maybe a few times being interested in a roster or 2. So this is kind of crazy to think about, right? That out of all the organizations that have been killing it over there in the APAC side, the orgs that are going to get a spot of only 3 spots available in that kind of mini region within the main league in that kind of side of things is going to be an organization that's never even had a Valorant team. So it's what is going on? There must be good reasons for this, I suppose, from their sides, but well, I guess we shall wait and see and try and find out, right? Because even as Ominous says, it's not just bad for the orgs, but it's also bad for the players, right? I mean, think about that. If there's only 3 spots for APAC, there's only 15 players from that region that can actually get into the franchise side next year. You think about Team Secret, Bleeds, PaperX, Xerxes, Onyx, Boom, other ones, that's at least 30 players from those regions that are going to have a very difficult time, because the Korean teams, the Japanese teams, they're going to pick up players from their own regions because it's already restricted enough. So this is honestly kind of chaos, right? But honestly, I think this could be pretty expected from that region, just because there's only 10 spots in the entire league all across Asia, such that the specific APAC region is kind of getting screwed over here, it seems. So yeah, difficult scenes, but look at all these countries and all these teams. These are the results, for example, from the APAC LCQ, but apparently maybe only one of these organizations is even going to get in next year. Maybe it's going to be Team Secret from the Philippines, but you've got Indonesian teams. They, of course, well, Boom Esports, the team that made it to Champions. Singapore, Bleed from Singapore. Australia, of course, I guess they're in the Oceania group, but also got Thailand's Xerxes, of course, team that's, from Thailand, I believe that's going to go to Champions anyway. Cerberus and Vietnam. Honestly, it would be kind of crazy if this happened as it is expected to, but I wouldn't really put it past Riot to do exactly this. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all that in the comment section below. Now, speaking of the other regions potentially, this is how things are going in the South American LCQ. Fury versus Crew is coming up in a couple of days' time, but still, the lower bracket run has started for many of these teams. NIP took down Fusion. I believe Fusion had to play with a substitute, but still, they had some hope as an organization, but failed to win a map this entire LCQ. NIP continue. TBK take down Laser on the other side of the bracket to see how things go over there as time progresses. This also is how things are going in the East Asian LCQ with some Chinese teams on the move. A good result for Crazy Raccoon over Down 1 yesterday. They took them down 2-1, and North Neptune as well, taking down Cone ESC 2-0. Also, I guess esports club or whatever. So yes, that's the bracket as it is playing out over there. And then a big result yesterday in the EMEA side with Acend, the world champions from 2021, going out of the LCQ, failing to make Masters Copenhagen, failing to make Masters Reykjavik, and now failing to make champions to try and defend their title. And this is honestly kind of crazy, right? That organization that won last year, cNed was not a happy man as well. He was like, you know, thanks for all the supports, but yeah, that's going to be it for my season. And even Starkso as well says something we'll see here in a second. But yeah, G2, the funny thing is really about this series that G2 and Acend, both of these teams are not going to keep their roster. Like, usually when a team wins, there's still a chance that the team that wins will keep their roster going into, and of course the team that loses as well could also keep their roster. But in this case, both of these teams aren't going to keep their team. Acend honestly might just be done. This might be the last we see of Acend in Valorant history, at least on the professional level, because I doubt they as an organization get their spot in partnership next year. So it would be unbelievable to think about really the fact that the organization that won the inaugural champions fails to do anything the next season with a pretty similar roster, and then fails to even make partnership. But that's probably what's going to happen here. G2 will get partnership, I think, in one region or another, either in North America or in Europe. I think is kind of their backup plan. But whatever the case is there, their roster's probably going to be different. So yeah, that was a crazy story of the day. BBL also lost to Guild. I believe they got pretty much smoked by Guild, but they did at least win 13 rounds over the course of 2 maps in that series. There is some positive actually about the whole kind of tier 2 sides. Like Bodog does say that he's hearing some good things about the tier 2 scene, reckons that in APAC, the kind of APAC region, there actually is going to be some domestic leagues there, kind of run how the VRLs, the regional leagues, are presently run in EMEA, and saying they might actually have minimum salaries. So that could be a good sign for tier 2, that organizations like Acend or others could stick around even if they're not in the partnership league. But yeah, it's going to be a tough time for a lot of these guys. Let's talk then about some of the big changes that were confirmed yesterday into the main game. They were in the public beta environment for a little bit of time now, but now they have been converted into the real game. So as Neon, well, Neon changes right here. Damage per shot has been reduced, firing range, but the headshot multiplier has been increased. We talked about this at the time, that actually it's a rather big deal that the headshot damage now on Neon's ultimate is massive. If you hit some headshots, like, she will kill you immediately, which is honestly quite the big change. Like, I honestly think it does make her ultimate a little bit more powerful and potent, but is it too strong? Some people might actually argue that if you hit the headshots now. So there's that question as well. Obviously kind of difficult to hit headshots when you're moving around, but it's still possible, and her ultimate actually can be very useful now, rather than kind of just the gimmick that she kind of almost used to be. Now, Jade Splitstorm, her leg damage multiplier has been decreased, same with Neon, same with Jet, and same also with Chamber, because I think their plan was to do this with Chamber, so that well, his ultimate no longer kills to the leg in one shot. It's now only a one shot from the torso and upwards, but all the changes we expected to see over the last several days have indeed come into effect. The big change really is to his teleport, right? Okay, the bullet cost has increased on his headhunter, the ultimate point has increased as well. Some relatively minor changes, I think some might argue, for most of his utility. It's really like the inputs that have been changed, right? The outputs in terms of what he can actually do with his weaponry is practically the same. It's just how easy it is to get that is kind of different now, right? And of course, the rendezvous is kind of the big one, increasing the cooldown, like you know, changing the radius size and stuff like that. But still, because his utility is so strong, his you know, his teleport can still be useful, but maybe not so often as it used to be. Of course, the tour de force is just absolutely dominant, and then of course the headhunter as well is just ridiculously good as well at times, and the pull-out time has not changed as well. Many pros actually think that it's not going to make too much difference to his current place in the meta, at least how he is presently used. Even Dicey actually mentioned right here in this article, I'll leave a link for you guys down below, that they've just done it wrong in terms of their nerf, saying if Riot really wants to nerf Chamber, they're doing it wrong. I feel like these Chamber nerfs aren't really going to matter that much. If you watch my game today, I rarely teleported more than once. I feel like the biggest nerf here was for the teleport. That's basically all they nerfed. I feel like it's not really a big of a deal. In pro play recently, teams have been playing a lot slower. It doesn't cause me to have to burn my teleports more than once around anyways. I don't think it will hurt me that much. It might change the way that I fight or my timings or stuff like that, but overall, the agent will still be good. I think people are just going to still play him, and I feel like he'll still be dominant. He's just a solid operator agent. That's kind of interesting, really, that Dicey saying, well, look, these nerfs aren't going to do much, especially to my playstyle. I'm going to keep using Chamber to great effect, and TenZ maybe agrees. He did say that he thinks these are good changes in a tweet a few days ago, but he also says, like, look, if he had to nerf Chamber, his decision would be to remove it from the game entirely.
how would you nerf Chamber? I would remove him from the game. I think he missed out unlikable for, or sorry.
30 seconds left.
I think he maybe not Cali for the 3 months. I think he literal for the 3 months.
So admittedly, it is quite interesting that TenZ would say that, right? Because he is now the Chamber main effectively for this Sentinels team. Like, he hasn't really hit like super form on Chamber yet, but I think he can get there. I guess he would prefer to go back to the Jet days, and is maybe kind of frustrated with how Chamber plays in general, and playing against other Chambers also might not be a particularly fun time. Yeah, what do you think about the Chamber nerfs? Because the pros initially, Ye said that it's going to kill the agent, but now Dicey is saying, and TenZ seems to be suggesting that, yeah, he's probably still just as viable as he was before, and they probably changed the wrong things. And with the pace of pro play maybe slowing down slightly from where it was before, that actually these changes don't really do that much at all to the amount of impact that Chamber can still have in a lobby. So definitely intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Will Chamber still be used as much as he was before? Will Neon now start to come into the meta as well again? Because honestly, that ultimate change could be a pretty big deal. Like, look, our understanding is, I'm guessing at least, that these changes don't come into effect for the LCQ, right? Because the LCQ, of course, is, well, currently happening, and in North America it continues, of course, in just a couple of days. Well, actually, it begins again tomorrow on the Thursday, and we get to see the way the rest of the games will finish off in the tournament. I'm guessing there's going to be no changes, like these agents and stuff aren't going to change at all, like going into the second half of the tournament. But you know, of course, I'm guessing this is just going to come through for champions, and if that is the case, then we'll see how it works out. But very much intrigued to your thoughts and all that stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit a like button, tell us YouTube gods, this is a good video, others like you should see it as well, and I've grown the competitive Valorant community. The question is always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.